whatever you feel like. You officially get your whole book.
Okay.
Bring it with you every meeting.
You read it from stem
I
to
just
stern.
got it tonight.
Tonight.
I got
You
this.
gotta come up to speed. Boom.
Now, I will offer you the option of an official public reading the outline of the book, or you could quietly read this. So, I have some of those lifesavers.
Yeah.
I have to feed
My
Will.
blood sugar's like dropping.
Did you not eat?
No, I didn't.
I just put out my
Want that?
Yeah, when I'm with Will or Jake, it's like a requirement. So I always have, take what you want.
Thank you.
I always have something. Okay, first, what's for me? Like everybody.
Well, of course, thank you. How you doing there?
How are you?
So how come you didn't notice about the change?
Yeah, probably.
I was talking to Sherry about
So, Chris, same thing. So,
What happened?
we wouldn't do that.
well, the early sign up.
Takes care of that.
An email.
Well, see if you can send me-
Oh,
Is it
and,
positive or
but
negative?
it sent it
There's no
just
report.
to the village address. When I email you, I usually copy in your alternate email address. But it's like,
192 square feet.
Sorry.
no, you're It's really not your fault. And I'm waiting for, oh, we don't have to wait.
Okay.
I'm still waiting on your vote.
That's fine.
I thought we would have right now,
No.
but
Yeah?
But I was like, I haven't seen it, I hope I didn't miss something, so, no worries.
I checked still today and it wasn't done.
Okay, no problem.
So, all right. Oh, let me get you to record. Hello.
No, I get like
So where did you live after before?
Oh, I moved up to Maryland, and then worked out in Boston for 8 years, and then had my first son.
Ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Webster Planning Board meeting of Thursday, June 7th. I'd like to call this meeting to order now.
Thank you.
First order of business, I would like to welcome our newest member, Karen Winford. She has joined the board. This will be your first meeting, so, feel free to dive in with both feet.
There you go.
Pool is not too deep, but you'll be okay.
Fasten your seatbelt.
And the second order of business would be to review the meeting minutes from May 8th. If you would take a quick read of those minutes, let me know if there are any changes, corrections, additions, deletions. And if not, I will entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes into the record. had a chance to review. I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from 5:03.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, first order of business tonight. Currently, we have 2 items on the agenda, but I don't believe our second participant has brought anything to the board for review, so we will just proceed with item number 1. We have 152 Iroquois Street, owner Michael Venor. Venor. He is, would like to install a accessory structure in his backyard, and he's going to give us a little blurb about what your intentions are. So, please introduce yourself, stand up.
My name is Michael Benner. I'm recently a new father of now 2, one being on the way. So we bought our house 2.5 years ago right in the village, and it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with an attached garage. So we've utilized all the space in the house. So with our growing family, we're looking to renovate the garage into living space. So I'm really hopeful in getting granted a shed, being more than the variance of 10 by 10, which is allowed in the village, because everything that's in the garage is going to have to go somewhere. And with my family growing and our family growing, we're going to have 2 kids, so we're going to need another bedroom as well. So that's going to be utilized as a 3rd bedroom for either us or the baby, or however we plan on rearranging all of our house. So I was really hopeful in getting, initially when I first started shopping, a 10 by 18 shed, and now that I'm looking in the market more, a 12 by 16 would actually be a lot more beneficial, because it's 12 more square feet, and they have garage door openers, so in the man door versus, so I can get the mower and all the, because we have like 8 ride-on toys for my daughter to play with all of her friends, because she runs a licensed daycare out of the house. So I'm really, really hopeful in being able to get this grant for a 12 by 16 or a 10 by 18 shed for our backyard, so we can clean out the garage, get the garage started. As soon as we get the garage cleaned out, I'm going to get a permit for the garage to get completely redone. Garage door taken off, 2 by 4 exterior wall put on, siding, 3 new windows, a new door. But in order for us to go forward with that, we need to get everything that's in the garage out. And there's a lot of stuff in there, so it just wouldn't fit in a 10 by 10 shed, because that's what we were going to do initially. And then, like I said, once we looked in the market more, 12 by 16 would suit us absolutely perfectly. There's one right on 250. I drive by it every single day, and I'm pretty much sold on it. I already talked to the guy. He said can sell me the display so he can have it installed like as soon as possible. I don't have any paperwork on that though, but it is a prefabricated vinyl shed with a garage door in the front and a man door on the side. It's 12 by 16 in diameter, and it would, the way they deliver it, it would fit exactly between my house, where it being the corner of my house, and my neighbor's property line, which is 14 feet over, stated in what's it called, the map of the house on the application. Survey. Yeah, thank you very much. So, yeah, it would fit perfectly. I wouldn't even go over my neighbor's yard. I'd be able to back it right into where it needs to go, drop it right in the corner of my corner of the yard, past all the pine trees on the property line. And I talked to both my neighbors, and they said they're okay with it being 1 foot from the property line, both my neighbors being side by side. I did talk to a couple other neighbors that were available. I went to 3 of the houses, the 3 signatures that I didn't get that are basically touching my property line, 2 and then 1 of the neighbors. None of them answered their door. So I went 3 separate times with a clipboard, obviously, and a piece of paper. So they may have thought I was a salesman or something, but I couldn't get their signatures, but I did get the 4 signatures listed on the application. So I'm really hopeful in getting a variance. Like I said, being 1 foot from the property line on both sides, and a 12 by 16 shed. So,
Okay.
hope you guys consider it, and that we can move forward with the plans we have to renovate the garage. Ultimately, is the big goal to renovate the garage into a 3rd bedroom with a closet. So, that's the next step after this, so,
All right, so just so you understand,
yeah.
we as a planning board, we are only here to give a positive or negative recommendation to the zoning board. The zoning board will be the ultimate yay or nay on the actual placement of the shed.
Okay.
So, or they will be the ultimate acceptor or rejector of the recommendations for the variances for the placement of the shed on the
Okay.
property. So just a couple things I want to, all right, so the village laws state that there are 10-foot property line setbacks.
Yep.
Side lot lines, back lot lines. Based upon your survey map, you have just a shade over a quarter of an acre.
Yeah.
All right. So I get it. We want to get the shed into the corner and maximize the usage of the yard.
Right.
But in reality, you could put this shed in the backyard and maintain the 10-foot property line setbacks.
I could.
Yes.
One setback being that if we did do that, we wouldn't be able to, my mom has a solid wooden playground set that's probably as long as this room here with like a bunch of different stuff on it. We were gonna set that up, the shed being on one side, that being the other 24 or 22 feet, whatever it ends up being, the whole and then I do like a big rectangle and pressure treated lumber to like border it out, you know what I mean? And then put 4 inches of playground mulch on it. So that would kind of offset, it'd actually be like a hazard because of where the yard is. If we put the shed, it'd be like right next to the playground set, basically. I mean, realistically, I could manage to keep it 10 feet off the property line. I mean, both kitty corners of my neighbor's sheds are right on the property line, basically. The one behind me and the one to the left of me. But it would kind of offset the whole structure of the backyard too, because if I kept it a foot from the property line, I could mulch right around it and keep that area mulched and then seed the rest of it, because I'm planning on reseeding almost probably 20% of my whole yard this year. I've started, but I haven't really finished. I'm waiting for the shed to go so I can know exactly what I'm gonna landscape, and it'd kind of be hard to like mow around it, you know what I mean? Because meaning in that back corner, it was already a huge garden bed back there. So it's like, it's really good growing material, but on the flip side, there's 5 completely concrete studs in the ground that are like 2 feet wide and like probably 4 feet in the ground, 3 feet in the ground, however 36 inches past the frost line. And I tried digging one of those out, and I actually gave myself golfer's elbow doing it, so I'm not digging any more of those out.
What were those from?
They're from the prior shed that was there at one point, so I seeded it all back there, and every time I go over it with the mower, I actually hit it with the mower blade, so I gotta watch and then put my mower blade up so I don't hit it with the mower blade. That's why we're gonna do like a playground right there, because we're gonna do like 4 to 6 inches of mulch that'll all go over it, and then we'll put landscaping fabric down and everything. So that's gonna cover up all that. That being said, if it was 10 feet from the property line, it would kind of offset my whole backyard, like the landscaping that I've envisioned with it. And ever since moving to Webster, I haven't really wanted to move out, because I grew up in Ontario, but I always said as a little kid, if I ever buy a house one day, it's gonna be in Webster, but I could never afford it. I could never afford the town of Webster, but I can afford the village of Webster, so it's great to live out here, have all the amenities out here, and it'd just be like, kind of a shame, because she's talked about like moving and stuff like that, because the house isn't big enough, so that's why my brother-in-law gave her the idea of renovating the garage. So ever since that idea's been in this picture, she's like, we're living here till we're gray and old, if we get the garage done, blah, blah, blah. And like, she's all excited about it. I just wanted to be able to pursue it and do everything the right way, because I know that certain people in my neighborhood just have sheds dropped, and I wanted to go through the whole procedure of making sure it doesn't give me the trouble down the road, so.
Well, I'm just pointing it out. I mean, I understand the whole concept of,
Right.
trying to maximize the yard and stuff. 'Cause,
Right.
I raised 3 kids in a village on a lot, half the size of yours. So,
Really?
believe me, I get it. I also understand that, a accessory structure size of 100 square feet is 10 by 10, that's small.
Yeah,
For all the toys and things in this day and age,
right.
you know, and 10 by 10
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm
get you very far.
I've been trying to keep her off the iPad with this nice weather too and get her outside, so I just bought her a 24-volt battery operated four-wheeler. She's already got 12 volt and she already goes the full speed on it. So I bought her a 24 volt and like, that's just gonna keep accumulating over the years. Like, I know my sister has, lives in Williamson and she has orchards behind her house. So possibly getting, you know, ATVs and four-wheelers down the road if we wanted to trail them over with my new truck down there and stuff. So I'm just trying to make sure I can support the best for her I can and go through all the right steps and all the right measures before just impulsively going into something and not thinking about it before. So,
Now, the only other thing I would bring to your attention though, and this is gonna be something that's you're gonna have difficulty with down the road, is Code Section 17553 says a single or two-family structure shall have a minimum of 2 parking spaces. You have a 40-foot driveway. That's barely gonna be big enough to handle 2 cars now because you won't have a garage.
well, it's technically a 3-car driveway, isn't it? There's like a little, it's not a straight driveway, it's like it like goes.
No, I'm just pointing out that, you know, if you have a car, if your wife has a car, and then as your kids grow up, more cars enter into the family. At one point, I had 5 cars.
Right,
So, just be aware, it's gonna get, that lot, you know, as far as being in compliance with all the village rules.
right,
and laws are gonna be difficult because, I mean, you're gonna give up your garage. So,
right.
but, I mean, that just, you know, that's way down in the future.
Yeah,
and
it's something to think about though.
It's very, it's enjoyable to see a young person have the kind of enthusiasm that you have, that I once had, that I've grown up.
See, look at that smile.
But, okay, so what you're looking for tonight is a 9-foot variance for the side lot line and the rear lot line. You're also looking for a size variance on the garage structure itself, whether it be 80 square feet or 92 square feet, depending on the structure that you wish to purchase. And this structure is going to be not installed on a permanent foundation.
Correct, dropped, it's got those,
Is it on skids?
it's, yeah,
Basically?
those long, what are they, 4x4 looking things, how do they call them, skidders?
So it's a delivered structure
Yeah,
on skids, in
exactly.
essence, okay.
Yes.
If it was, I would have more of a problem if it was a permanent structure built permanently into the ground. Whereas, you know, an accessory structure can technically be moved around.
Yes,
So,
just really happy.
those are that's my piece. So, anyone else from the board have any questions for this young man?
Well, you said in your presentation that you do have a daycare
Yes,
business?
she runs a registered daycare, probably 2 or 3 kids a day, roughly, just to keep the lights on. Unless she pays her part, you know, I pay my part. I mean, we don't make nor have a lot of money whatsoever, which is the whole, like, my first daughter, Lena, she was not planned, and I was in college, going to college. I finished that semester in college and dropped out and started working 2 jobs just so I could start having enough money. And I saved up $5,000 for the closing costs, and that happened to be just the right amount for this house. So it all fell into place like never before. Like, it was just, I couldn't even fathom we were buying a house. Like, having a daughter, buying a house, and like, we closed on the house exactly a month after she was born. So it's like, this house already has so many memories to us, and like, it would just create so much more space for us to grow into our family, because the daycare kids run around wherever they really please. It's a 1-bedroom, or it's a 1 single level ranch on a concrete foundation. So all the kids are running around living room playing in the spare room as we call it, that just makes our house a big circle. There's like a 1 little 8x10 room. They just play around in there. They play in my daughter's room. They just run around the whole house. So I'm completely okay with that, and we have fun with them. So, and that space would just make it so much. Then they would be able to go everywhere, and my daughter to have a space to get out get away. As she grows older, she's not gonna want a little bunch of kids running around by her feet, you know what I mean? As she becomes 10, 11 years old, she's not gonna want a bunch of kids around her. She wants her own space where she can go and close the door. This is my space, you know what I mean? So right now we have her room, but for them to be able to have that hall space too, it would be limitless. They can do whatever they wanted in there, you know? It's almost 320 square feet roughly of square footage, which is like a third of our house. So that's like 30% more of space that we could live in. So it would just make our lives a lot easier, and as our
Oh, sure, I can see converting the garage, yeah. Well, does, are you aware of the business there?
When it comes to daycare centers, the county kind of supersedes everything, and so they allow that, they license it. I've run into this before where I've had a long talk with them, so they're allowed to have daycare centers, or whatever you're gonna call them, in their homes, residential homes.
Any limit to the number of children they can have?
Well, the county would limit it by the square footage of
Okay.
the home and the number of people that are there watching the kids.
Okay. And it doesn't affect our proposal then at all, having this, okay.
The only thing I would say is I would recommend you move the shed more than a foot away from the property line, because you're gonna have to mow and maintain that property. And if you get a new neighbor or something like that and say, hey, you know, I'm tired of hearing the kids, I wanna put a fence up. Well, then that fence is a foot away from you, so I would recommend you put it at least the width of a mower.
Well, that's the thing, I was just gonna mulch around it, so I wanna put a fence up last year. There's been so much we've been doing to that, like just living and having a daughter growing up, there's been so much going on, painting the house and everything. So realistically, I wanted to put a fence up too, and that's the next thing I need to get a permit for. I have some of the material that I got for free, just regular, because there's a line of pine trees down that whole side of the yard, except for the last 15 feet, which is like a 10-foot gap into my neighbor's yard, and then just like 5 feet of like landscaping, as you could call it, just a tree and some rubbish. And then, like I said, I would put mulch all around the whole shed if it was 1 foot over, because then I go all the way around and then all the way around to the other side, and then I could put seed after that, after I had a path, so to speak, of where I could actually mow. So, and like I said to them, there's the concrete 2x3s in the ground, and I've been hitting it with my mower recently because there's grass actually growing up there that I've been hitting with my mower. So I've been having to put my mower blade up so I don't hit it with my mower. That whole part of the yard is like completely non-usable in a sense. So I couldn't do it on that yard. And I didn't really want to mow around it because I have trouble planting grass seed as it is and making it grow. So.
Is a foot gonna be enough to maintain the shed? If you have to do anything to the shed, I don't know if it's a vinyl shed, but if something happens to it and you have to come around the side and fix it.
It'll be solid wood, and it'll be vinyl exterior, like siding. It'll look like a mini house, realistically, on
So a
skids.
piece of vinyl comes off, you gotta replace the piece of vinyl. Is the 12 inches gonna be enough for you to work on that shed without entering your neighbor's lawn?
Yeah, I'll be able to work. It's just taking it off and putting it on. I've never done it personally. I mean, I had one piece come up and I actually snapped right back into place, which was nice. So, I think it would be enough space for me to work around it and not intrude on his property.
But shouldn't you also consider this fencing space that you're considering?
Yeah, I was hoping to put that on the property line.
Is it, the shed, does it have a soffit? Does it have an overhang? In other words, what type of roof does it have?
Just
Is it a gable roof like this?
yeah, just an
And it
A-frame.
comes down.
Yeah,
Does
7
it
inches.
have a little bit of a soffit on it?
6 is it 6 inches on both sides?
Okay, so how tall is the shed?
10 foot.
Okay,
The peak of the roof.
so face level is where that soffit's gonna be. It's gonna stick out about 6 inches, so you just lost 6 inches of your foot if you're standing there trying to work on the shed.
Would that really only if I'm working on the roof, right?
No, if you're working on the siding, if it's face level, which is, it's gonna be, you're gonna be like, ducking to work on the shed or whatever, you know, that's what I'm saying. I want you to reconsider the foot. Is the foot, I mean, do you have to have a foot? Why is the foot so important?
No, I just thought a foot was manageable because, like I said, I would just mulch all around it. I guess I didn't exactly envision a problem with a brand new shed anytime.
You know, we get
anytime soon.
windstorms.
Oh, yeah,
They
definitely.
do fun things.
Yeah, now that you say that,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not set in stone
Mhm.
on what exactly I'm buying. I'm still like in the market and everything, so if it was a solid wood, how much is there maintenance on those? I guess I'm like.
Paint it,
There's maintenance on
Yeah,
everything.
paint,
Yeah.
yeah, everything's got
Stain,
maintenance. Right,
you know, rotted wood, gotta replace a piece of it.
right. Yeah, I mean, a foot's not, that's not like a necessity really, it's more the size than anything. I was just hoping I didn't have to try to plant seed around it and make my whole yard look like it's all got grass on it.
Mhm.
Cause I didn't think I was gonna be able to grow seed back there around that and keep it maintained and, cause weed whacking is a really big deal in
Well,
maintaining.
I wouldn't worry about so much the seed planting and mowing, and everything. If you're gonna put mulch, you put mulch down, but what I would say is, if you wanna do maintenance on the shed, if you ever have to do anything to it, you wanna give yourself a little bit of room.
So, what would you
It might be
suggest?
more appropriate for a 2-foot setback.
2 foot? Yeah, I'm definitely open to that, that's definitely really good knowledge and insight on that. I didn't think it through that much, I mean, I've been thinking all these projects through, so I guess, yeah, maintenance, 2 foot would make it a lot more manageable.
And 2-foot strip is walkable,
Right,
so,
perfect.
okay? Anything else? All right, if there are no more questions or issues with the board, I will open it up to the public. If there are any questions or comments. Rick?
My only question is, well, this said 180, he's talking 192, so that would mean just amending the application? Okay.
That's correct, yeah, we can notify the paper, even though it's probably too late for it to get into the paper, we can notify the paper and post it that it's changed and it's amended.
Okay.
But he's already done his due diligence in talking to the neighbors. So they know that the meeting's on this date, what time it's supposed to be the day appears, so.
And the other point, I want to very much agree with Will on the side yard setback. I just rebuilt a garage that was very, very close to the side yard and tore it down and built a new one in the same place because I have an extremely narrow lot. I did not have the room to move it over. And there's not a whole lot of room there if I didn't have a real nice neighbor that let me
Have all your stuff
use
right
their side yard during construction.
there. Yeah, definitely.
And now they actually are using the 18 or 20 inches that they're, for their garden next to my garage because that, with the space is useless to me.
Right,
So I agree with Will, 2 or 3 feet would be a lot nicer setback, especially if you ever have to do anything.
yeah, definitely. I didn't really take the maintenance too far into consideration because it's just a brand new structure. I assume I'm brand new to this whole home ownership as of 2 years ago, so yeah, maintenance is something I always consider, and 2 feet would give me enough space to keep it really nicely mulched around and everything. So I definitely agree with Will on that too. Thank you.
Most people should.
Definitely.
Anything else, Rick? No? All right, back to the board. Anybody, any other thoughts, concerns? All right, so, if there is no further discussion, then this is not a secret action because the zoning board will be the responsible for secret. So, the first request then is for a recommendation for a 8-foot setback variance from the side and the rear lot. And if anyone would care to make that motion
I'll make that motion,
as a positive recommendation to the board
positive recommendation to the board
for an 8-foot setback.
for an 8-foot setback.
8-foot variance, 2-foot setback from the property line. Okay. All in favor? sorry?
Did we get a second?
Oh, I'm sorry, do we have a second on that?
I say, did I miss it?
Is there a second on that?
Yes, second, I second that.
Look at that jumping in already,
Yeah,
like
I
it.
know.
All
I
right,
didn't do anything.
we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I don't know. Aye?
Aye. Motion is unanimous. Reluctant, but.
Reluctantly.
Now, I think the saving grace here is the fact that it's on skids, so it is movable.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
you ever ran into trouble with your neighbors and then somebody gave you a hard time, you could say, all right, listen, I'm just gonna shift it over a bit.
Yeah.
All right, so the second motion, or second request for variance is a size variance from the 100 square foot limitation. You were asking for an 80 square foot variance or a 92 foot size variance, depending on the final structure.
Correct.
So do we make this motion to be 80 or 92, or contingent on the size of the structure purchased?
I wouldn't make a contingent, I'd request you make up your mind.
Probably the 12 by 16, because they have the garage doors and they're a lot more common to find around on-site versus waiting 4 to 8 weeks to have it delivered. So, you know, we could get the project done this year versus next year, because I don't want to work all winter in the garage without heat or anything, so.
What I typically tell people when they apply for a variance
We're gonna heat?
is ask for what you want,
Shed.
but be prepared to settle on something, you know, say you want, 12 by 16, which is 192 square feet, and if the zoning board goes, not so much, then be prepared to say, well, I'm willing to go, 10 by 8 or 12
Right.
by 9 or whatever,
Right.
12 by 12.
Yeah, it all depends on the structure and ultimately the price. I mean, they're not, by any means inexpensive structures, so, I mean, the 10 by 18, I initially saw one on Craigslist, the Amish guy builds them, and then he delivers them on site the same exact way. But I wanted to go through like a more, like a retail storefront, or like somewhere that has like something I can see and purchase on site. And I really did like the garage door feature, which is the main reason I was like, oh, 12
Where
by
on
6.
250 was it?
It's right before Plank Road on your
Oh,
right.
and there, the,
Harris
what you see,
Seed.
Harris
Yeah,
Seed, yeah.
the landscaping company. It's the blue one right out front. I talked to the guy, and the owner told me he would sell it to me as is and deliver it.
Okay.
The one lady I talked to yesterday wasn't too much help. She said they don't sell displays, but I already talked to him, and he said he could help me out, and because at the end of the season they want to sell them anyway, so he said he would help me out, and hopefully we can go through with the rent to own, pay for it the next 3 years, and then have it paid for. So
So if you can get a picture of it to me.
I have all the cord, the dimensions and everything. I took a picture of the inside of it on my phone. I'll send you that in your.
I don't need the inside, I just want the outside.
Yeah, and well, it's got all the dimensions, like everything it's made out of, all the specifications of it, so to speak. So I'll send you that picture, and I'll send you a picture of the outside of it as well. So.
The zoning board it would help the zoning board as well, that information.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go there.
What it's made of, if you have pictures.
Yeah, I'll get the actual structure brochure too, because that has all the specifications and everything of exterior walls and the floors and everything it's made out of. So I'll definitely bring that and get that. I'll get that tomorrow. I'll get him those pictures as soon as tomorrow as well. So.
Okay, so then, would anyone care to make a motion for a size variance of 92 square feet for, as a positive recommendation to the zoning board for a variance of 92 square feet over the village limit of 100 square feet for your accessory structure?
I will, if nobody else is.
Okay. Joe, you got the wordage? Okay, do I have a second on the size variance? I will second that.
There you go.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion is unanimous. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
you can now proceed to the zoning board with your the recommendations will go to the zoning board, and then we'll have to do the presentation for them. I would recommend you be fully prepared,
Yeah, I will be more.
pictures, all
Absolutely.
the goodies, so.
Yeah, we need more copies too.
Okay.
And then, off to the renovation of the garage, obviously that'll all have to be code compliant, and you will be working with.
Yeah, we're very closely with them all the time. Like I said, I just need to get everything out and then get it all vacuumed and clean and ready.
There is a sequence to these things.
Exactly. It all gets worse before it gets better, so every single time, it gets worse before it gets better, so.
All right, very good. All right.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you, Michael.
I appreciate all of your times. Thank you
Alright.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
good luck with your.
Good luck with the zoning
growing
board.
family.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You shake my hand when you get the permit.
Thank you
We'll see
very
you
much.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks, sir.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Good luck.
So when is the next meeting exactly?
The 21st.
First, so it's at 7. Alright, perfect. Thank you very much.
Same time, same place, same day.
Alright, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Have a good night.
You too, man.
Okay, second person on the agenda obviously is not here, so with that, I will make a motion, or, I forget how to do this now.
I will make a motion to end the meeting.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion is adjourned at 7:37. Okay, thank you, good people. Oh, I'm sorry, before I forget, Joe asked me a question. Who is available for the planning board meeting on July 5th? I will not be here, I will be on vacation.
Yeah,
That's the Thursday after July 4th.
it's the week of July 4th. You already have something, I thought.
I'm gonna have to ask my schedule, I just don't know.
Okay. Are any of you gonna be away, let's put it that way? Do you know you're gonna be away the week of July 4th?
I think I am gonna be away.
Yes, I am definitely not in Webster.
Okay. So the only way we could still hold a meeting, if we need to, would be if the other three of you are definitely around in
Mhm.
town.
I will be.
I'm 100% here that week, not the next week, so.
Okay.
I am here.
Peter, are you in town that week?
So you gave me an opening, so I'm gonna have to call Diane and say, we're away, aren't we? I just don't know.
Can you give us like 70, maybe 80%?
Oh, sure, that's a good reason. So you can make yourself a liar.
Well, pop me off an email or
Okay.
call, just so we can confirm. I mean, obviously, if we don't have quorum, we can't hold a meeting.
Put it off till the next week?
Mm,
Well, the following week is Carnival Week,
Oh.
and there is no meeting Thursday night because of the parade, the fireman's parade. So even the village board meeting that week is gonna be on Tuesday. So we would have to postpone it even farther if we're gonna, if we need a meeting and we can't do it the week of the 4th. So, Peter, let me know, and then we'll, if there are no applicants and we don't hear from our second one that was supposed to be here tonight, then it'll be canceled regardless. There you go. But we need to know. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you, Joe. And then we are out. Okay. Oh, stop.
I was like, wait, do we have to listen to this before we can leave? I didn't sign up for that.
I hate my voice. Oh.
Well, how's the loft apartments going there?
They're moving right along.
Ready?
Yep. Yep, he finally got the show on the road there.